Hi, I'm Elizabeth Swick, the Director of Education here at the Quincy Art Center, and I just want to talk a little bit about our new exhibit. It's called This Is How We Came to Be, A Handler's Bond with Her Service Dog, and it's by artist Oaklee Thiele. Oaklee Thiele's work centers around her invisible disabilities and the bond that she has started to develop with her service dog. With her abilities, she's had to modify tools in order to keep working, because the working brings her comfort, but it also brings her pain. Whenever I look at these pieces, I see a lot of love that goes into it, and then I also see the pain that she's had to endure while creating these pieces. And I'm very grateful for her endurance of the pain, so that way she can share her images and her stories with the world. Thiele's grandfather comes from Colombia, and you can see a lot of Colombian and South American style within her work. It's very reminiscent of large murals, and for me, it reminds me of the works of Frida Kahlo. One other thing that's very interesting about all of her pieces is that there's remnants of Coco, her service dog's hair, on the fronts and backs of the pieces. So it kind of gets her service dog really into the pieces. This first piece is called Deep Pressure. It is an acrylic on canvas, and it is a portrait of Oaklee Thiele with her service dog Coco. It is done in a very kind of cubist style, and the outlines, which would normally be a black outline, are actually done in white. The background has some leaves, some floral, and then on the front we have her depicted with a nice pink tank top and her service dog wearing the Coco's service dog vest. This next piece is called She Saved Me Again, and it is a 4-part diptych that tells a story. And this first image is mostly black, but we do see a pair of eyes and the slight highlights of a nose. And on the bottom in yellow it says, "Yesterday I almost fainted." In our next image we see a point of view of looking down. We've got some blue lines coming down as if it was water onto a pair of hands. We see a belly and then some bare legs. And in the center here it says, "In the shower." Our next image is a curled up dog, which is Coco. And in the background we see a very faded image of a shower curtain with the person behind the shower curtain and a blue wall to the side. And it says, "But my dog, she knows me well." And then in the last image we see Oaklee depicted in the shower, with the shower curtain slightly opened. She's still standing in the tub, but Coco, her service dog, is standing there right next to her, outside of the tub. And on the bottom it says, "And she caught me before I fell." So altogether it says, "Yesterday I almost fainted in the shower, but my dog, she knows me well, and she caught me before I fell." This piece is called "I Hope I Did Good by You." And it is a nice light blue. We see this nice texture of blue and whites mixed together on the wall. And then we've got a floor, kind of plain, of the same light blue. And we see Coco, the curled up dog. And Coco is a nice like black and brown, almost German Shepherd type dog. I believe it's a German Shepherd, but I'm not for sure. And up above it, on the top of the painting in red, it says, "I hope I did good by you." Our next piece is a large piece. It is 71.5 inches by 84.5 inches. And it is just a canvas panel, so there's no frame to it. It is called "At John Hopkins with My Dog by My Side." And we see Oaklee depicted in an open hospital gown with Coco, her service dog, standing behind her. Her hospital gown is open, and there are the arms of 2 doctors examining her body. This piece is another diptych. It's called Show Me Where It Hurts, Show Me Where It Doesn't. In our first image, it is Show Me Where It Hurts, and we see Oaklee Thiele. She's got a black tank on with some blue jeans and socks. And over top of her portrait, we see red markings circling her wrist, her shoulder, her elbows, her head, her knees, her feet. This piece is telling us she pretty much hurts all over. And then in the next piece on the bottom, it says, Show Me Where It Doesn't. But it has a white box around it because the whole image is just a black image. And this is conveying that everything hurts. So it's a very powerful piece and a very simple 2-part story. This next piece is called If I Did That, I Would Faint. We see a green background with some textures, which makes it appear to be like grass. And we see an image of Oaklee laying down on the grass with some water around her. There are also 3 pairs of legs up on the top of the painting. And there are the words, If I did that, I would faint, written throughout the piece. This piece is called The Last Thing I See Before I Fainted Is My Dog. And this is a 2-part diptych. The first image is a portrait of Oaklee, and it is just of the bust. So it's taken from the top of the chest up, and then it kind of cuts off the top of her from her forehead. But we see a very expressive face depicted on Oaklee's face, almost tired and drained, as if she is about to faint. Our next image is a blacked out image with 2 glowing eyes, and the eyes are blue, and where the pupils would be, we do see a side profile of Coco, her service dog, in both eyes. This next piece is a fiber piece. It's called Goodnight Coco, Goodnight Moon, and it is a diptych. They are 2 fiber pieces connected to 1 wooden post. This has a very large South American style to it. In this first panel, we see an image of Coco, her dog, kind of an elongated, wrapping around a crescent moon. And Coco is sideways on this panel, but we get these really nice colors of blues and yellows, reds, pinks, and purples. In the next panel over it, with the same color scheme, we see Oaklee with her arms extended out towards Coco with her hair flowing to her. She's wearing a red and yellow shorts. Here we have a 2-panel diptych using just the canvas pieces, so there's no frame again. In our first panel, we have a profile portrait of Coco. It is a bust of Coco, and her tongue is hanging out. It's a very cute, happy, reflective piece of Coco. And then in the next panel, we see a front view of Oaklee. And she is got one hand on her cane, and the other hand is nestled up against her face. This next piece is called Thank You for Helping Me, but I wish I could do more for her. This piece is another large piece done on canvas, so there's no frame to this piece. And we see 2 women. There's one woman who is seated on a bathtub, on the edge of a bathtub, and they have their canes. So we are assuming that this is Oaklee. And then there is another woman crouched down in front of the bathtub with her back towards the audience, and they are bathing Coco inside of the bathtub. There is a nice calmingly blue background We have another piece that is done directly onto the canvas without a frame. It is called Don't Forget, Your Younger Self Needs Healing Too. And we have two women in this picture. They are almost mirroring each other. They are both sitting down on the ground with their legs somewhat intertwined. And in between them, we see Coco, the service dog, with her service vest on. This piece is called Life in New York, New York, and it is a very vibrant and expressive piece. In the background, we have this wonderful blue sky with white fluffy clouds. We see two buildings opposite the subject that's in the center. We see grass in the background and a sidewalk. In the center, our subject is Oaklee Thiele with her cane in one hand and Coco's leash in the other. Coco is depicted from just the back of the front legs back. So all we see are her hind legs and a bit of her service vest. This piece is called If the World Were to End Tomorrow, I'd Spend My Last Days with You. This piece is very reminiscent of South American and Colombian art. In the background, we have this pinkish red sky, and we see these two brown mountains in the background and this nice rolling hill of green. And we see some textures of a lighter green on the grass too, to give it that grass texture. In our foreground, we have Coco the dog walking, and Oaklee Thiele is draped over top of her as if she is riding her like a horse. And the emotional expression on Oaklee's face is that of being tired and worn out. Her eyes are closed, and her body movement is just very much dependent on relying on Coco to carry her. This piece is called This House is Also on Fire. So what's even the point of all of this? And this piece, in the background, we have a window that views a blue sky with white clouds. And then there's also some small house huts in the back as well. They both have gray smoke coming out of them. The subject is inside the home. We see a wall around there, and we see two house plants on both sides of the painting. They are tall plants that would be found in Colombia inside of yellow pots. And then we have our subjects in the center. We have Oaklee Thiele with her cane in one hand, and she is sitting on a nice red chair. And then in between her legs sits Coco, and she has another arm resting on Coco's shoulder. This is another one of the larger pieces here. It is done directly onto the canvas with no frame. It is called Dearest Michigan, I Miss You. And we see that nice calming blue color again in this image with some large tan hills in the background and a nice blue lake. And we see two women sitting on a blanket. One woman is turned facing towards the viewer with her legs extended out, and there is a cane resting on the red blanket next to her. The other woman is looking out onto the lake, where we see two dogs playing together next to the lake. This piece is called This Is How We Sleep. It is also a large painting done on canvas without a frame. And this depicts Oaklee Thiele laying on the floor, and intertwined within her are two dogs. On both sides of her, there are small little house plants, and this background, it consists of 3 different shades of brown, which then makes Oaklee, the subject, and the dogs almost blend together as well. This piece is entitled, "I Saw Many Things in the Mountain, but Nothing as Beautiful as You." And this is another one of the fiber pieces that she has done. And it is just a rectangular panel. It borders gray and blue with a maroon in the center, and in yellow stitching, it reads the words, "I saw many things in the mountain, but nothing as beautiful as you." And it is attached to a very organic, crooked branch. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that visual, descriptive tour of this exhibit, but I really encourage you guys to come out here and check it out in person. It's one thing to see the pictures and the videos online, but it's another thing to come and see it. We displayed it in such a way where the lights hit it and they just kind of glow off of the walls. It's very beautiful. And Oaklee's work has a lot of emotion into it. And whenever you're here in person, you really feel that emotion. Currently, our hours are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. But everything's changing. So if you want to check out our website, you can see our hours on our website as well. And you can always call us here at the Art Center too. Our number is 217-223-5900, and our website is quincyartcenter.org. We are also going to be setting up a virtual conversation with the artist. So be sure to tune in for details on that once we get them. It'll be really great to hear the actual stories behind these pieces, and see where Oaklee gets her inspiration and kind of how she works with the tools and works through her pain to create these pieces. So that'll be something that you won't want to miss. So again, thank you so much and have a great day.